With all of the 435 House seats up for re-election in less than 2 weeks, you can't take any seats for granted. In fact, seats that were thought to be safely Democratic are suddenly hotly contested in a bunch of states. There's also some surprises in the other direction. The biggest one probably comes from Alaska. Pretty red state with one single at-large district for the whole state that has existed for 63 years. And for nearly 50 of those years, the seat was held by one man, Republican Don Young, a legendary figure. When he died earlier this year, something shocking happened. A Democrat named Mary Peltola ran for his seat in a special election held this summer, and she won. Now, there were two major factors that helped her victory. One was ranked choice voting, which allows people to rank who their preferences are in lieu of a primary Republican-Democrat, and then whittle the field down to two candidates. This allows voters more nuanced choices. Peltola ran an incredibly strong race, but she was also helped by the other factor, the fact that she was running against two Republicans who absolutely despise each other. One is Sarah Palin, the former governor of Alaska and vice presidential nominee. The other is Nick Begich, who worked on Young's 2020 campaign and has a famous name in Alaska politics. Now, the feud between Palin and Begich has been intense and very public. Last month, Palin called on Begich to drop out, calling him delusional. This summer, before the special election, Jim and Faye Palin, the father and stepmother of Sarah Palin's ex-husband Todd, remember him? They hosted an event at their home for Nick Begich. And now these same three people, two Republicans and a Democrat, are running for the same seat this fall. This is the normal election. They're also running with libertarian newcomer. Now, if the Republican Party could squash the beef between Palin and Begich, they'd have a pretty good shot at winning the seat back, but it's not looking likely. And Palin has not been shy about showing her adoration for Peltola, who's won all kinds of fans across Alaska politics. Listen to how Palin talked about Peltola, her Democratic rival, during their debate last night.
You know, it's so funny that even in this race, people actually hold our friendship against us. So it is heartening to get to stand beside somebody who gets it. Maybe it's kind of that Alaskan chick thing, you know? Tough Alaskans, commercial fish, were pregnant at the same time in office. Took some heat for that, too.
Almost sounds like an endorsement at a campaign event. Peltola has also scored some other major endorsements, like from Alaska Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski, who said she will rank Peltola first. And the late Congressman Young's daughters, some of his staff, have also come out in support of Peltola. So while Palin and Begich continue to beef, they have created the conditions where the Democratic candidate and the current Congresswoman, Mary Peltola, running on her pro-jobs, pro-choice, pro-fish, and pro-family platform, has a real shot at staying on as the Democratic Congresswoman from Alaska. And Congresswoman Mary Peltola joins me now. Congresswoman, it's great to have you on the program. I was describing earlier today in our meeting your agenda, the pro-choice, pro-jobs, pro-fish, and pro-family. And someone said, well, what's pro-fish? I was like, well, I think I know, but why don't I ask you? What's the pro-fish in your pro-fish agenda?
Well, the Alaskan economy is really built in part on the fishing industry. And my former job was with the Kuskokwim River Intertribal Fish Commission. And unfortunately, we've had 13 years of serious declines of Chinook salmon. And we've had 3 years of very precipitous declines in chum salmon and silver salmon. So reds are doing really well in Bristol Bay, but some of our other species are really in decline to the point where we're catching maybe 1% of our need. So, and then the crab industry is now in the tank. So that's what it's really about low ocean productivity and how management is responding.
So it's striking to hear you talk about that, because one of the things that's happened to American politics just in the time that I've covered it is that it used to be much more regional and much more local. The old Tip O'Neill, all politics is local, and it's gotten much more nationalized, right? Everyone fights about big national fights, but it seems like you've found a way to resist that, both to resist the kind of national polarization and to talk about issues that are very Alaska specific. Has that been intentional?
Oh, absolutely. I don't pretend to be a national politician or really invested in any platforms of any political parties. I'm an Alaskan, born and raised, lifelong Alaskan, and I think Alaskans really appreciate hearing from someone who doesn't have a canned message.
Yeah, it's pretty striking. It's also striking to see these cross-party endorsements. Lisa Murkowski, of course, who's the Republican senator, she's in the center of that caucus, meaning she's sort of one of the most moderate members of the Republican caucus. How does that come about? Is that a product of the unique politics of your state or of the ranked choice voting system?
I think it's not really anything to do with ranked choice voting. I think that it really is a product of Alaska in terms of numbers of people. We're a very small state. Leaders know that it only harms us and our state when we're making enemies. The three of us are all lifelong Alaskans. We've been in leadership positions for over 20 years, and we just recognize that memories are long and friends come and go, but enemies are yours to keep, and there's just no sense in making enemies.
It's so weird because I feel like I'm through the looking glass in the way most politics really, I mean, what you're saying is just like politics 101, like, try to be affable, try to create friendships, try to get people to like you, whatever their politics are. But it does seem like our politics is the opposite of this right now. So it does seem like your state, there's something different going on there.
Well, and like you said, it didn't used to be like this. When I was elected in 1998 and when I first was introduced to politics firsthand in 1996, there was so much more bipartisanship. At that time, we had Senator Ted Stevens, who had been working for Alaskans for decades, and he had such a close partnership and friendship with Senator Daniel Inouye from Hawaii. And just on and on, examples like that. Congressman Young, my predecessor, was one of fewer than 50 people to lay in state, and Nancy Pelosi was the person who made that happen. He had welcomed every single member of Congress as a freshman, and he had friendships that spanned across all party lines, and all of the range of parties. I think it's fair to say there are parties within parties now.
Yes, Don Young was absolutely one of a kind that anyone who ever interacted with him will tell you. And so it's only fitting for Alaska to have a one-of-a-kind member representing them, Congresswoman Mary Peltola. Thank you very much.